Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you wherever you are in the world. Welcome to my channel. My name is Meg and I am a fully qualified yoga teacher that teaches both in-person classes, and I also teach a lot on here on YouTube as well. And on this channel, I talk mainly about yoga, tips and tricks and things you can follow along from home to strengthen up your practice, but also some health and wellness advice as well. So if that is something that you're interested in, go and hit the subscribe button, and it means every time I post up onto my channel, you'll get a notification so you'll never miss a class with me. Today is my very first 1 hour long full yoga class. This is going to be like a yin yoga kind of style yoga class, very restorative. We're focusing on opening up through the hamstrings and the hips, and also working on hip mobility as well. You don't really need anything to follow along with this class. I always recommend using a good quality yoga mat onto a hard surface. The reason for this is because a hard surface and a good quality yoga mat will support your joints properly, and also a good quality yoga mat will mean that you're less likely to slip because it will have better grip onto the floor, and also you'll have better grip onto the mat, so you're less likely to kind of slide away when you're coming into different movements. You can also use a yoga strap as well during this class, especially if you're someone that maybe struggles with a little bit of hamstring flexibility or you're brand new to yoga. Not a complete necessity. If you don't have one, it's not the end of the world. And you can always use something like a tie or a piece of some sort of fabric, as long as it's not really elasticated. You could always use that as well. And when you're ready, we will get started. I'm going to start in a cross-leg seat. Let's take the hands onto the knees, closing down the eyes or softening the gaze in front of you. Start to slow down the breath here, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. See if you can elongate the breaths a little bit. And each time you exhale, just let the shoulders fall further away from the ears, down in towards the mat. Letting go of the day and focusing on you here in this moment. Take a second to really notice these breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Long, slow, calm breaths. And whenever we're coming into our deep stretches in this class, we're coming back to these long, slow, deep breaths to keep the body as relaxed as possible. And when we hold each of the deep stretches, we're holding them at about 50 to 70% out of 100. So we're not overstretching. We want to feel a good deep stretch, but staying relaxed at the same time. And we'll take one more deep breath in and out, opening the eyes, and we're going to start to move the shoulders here. So let's bring the shoulders up towards the ears. Inhale, exhale, roll them back and down away from the ears. Inhale, bring the shoulders up. Exhale to roll them down. See how slowly and controlled you can make this movement and how smooth you can make the circles. We'll do one more up towards the ears, and then we're going to take the circles the other way, bringing them up, forwards and down. Again, going with the breath. Inhale to bring the shoulders up. Exhale to drop them down. We'll do one more. And just let the shoulders come down. Let them relax, shake it out if you need to. We're going to come all the way down onto our backs. Taking a second here to make sure that your back is in the correct position. So you want to tuck your tailbone under, so you're pressing your back firmly in towards the ground. Your head is down, shoulders are pressed down, lower back is pressed in towards the mat. Let's bring the knees up in towards the chest, hugging them in tight. So you can wrap your hands around the shins and just give those knees a good squeeze, bringing them in towards the chest. See if you can push your lower back down in towards the mat. So don't let your lower back lift up. We're trying to press it down firmly in towards the ground, and bring your shoulder blades down as well. You can rock from side to side here. You can stay in stillness and just focus on pushing your back in towards the mat and squeezing the knees into the chest. Maybe you can rock the head from side to side. Do what feels best for you here. And we'll bring the head back up into the center. Take the hands onto the knees and come back into a neutral position. Hands onto the knees. And we're going to start to take the knees away from each other, bringing them out. Inhale to bring the knees in towards you, and exhale to push them away. So we're taking our knees into a big circle. We're going to start to open up through the hips. Inhale, bring the knees towards you. Exhale, push them away. Make this a really slow movement and really exaggerated. So see how wide you can get your knees. See how much you can squeeze them in towards your chest. See how smooth you can make these circles. And if you want to make this a little bit harder and work a little bit more on hip mobility, taking the hands away a little bit more. So maybe just the fingertips are onto the knees. Maybe you can take the hands away completely and focus on taking the knees wide, dropping them as far away from each other as you can, bringing them back together, and inhale, bring the knees into the chest. Wherever you are and however you're doing your knee circles, we'll do one more. Bring the knees back into the chest and we'll take them the opposite way, pushing them out. Exhale. Inhale to bring the knees in towards you. Inhale, the knees come in. Exhale to push them away, carrying on to make these circles as big and as exaggerated as you can. You can keep the hands onto the knees or maybe start to take them away and use your muscles here to make big circles. We'll do one more. And we'll bring the knees back in together. Give them a good hug in towards the chest. Maybe rocking from side to side here again if you want to. Let's take the right foot down and we'll bring the left foot up towards the ceiling. So we're taking a bend into the left knee, and if you can, we're going to take the hand onto the inside of the left leg, grabbing hold of the outside of the foot or maybe onto the ankle. We're going to come into our half happy baby here. So think about pushing your down onto your left foot to bring the knee closer towards the ground. Making sure your foot stays directly above your knee, and you can let your right hip fall or your right knee fall out to the side to help with balance. And just focus on breathing here. Maybe place the right hand onto the right leg to open that up as well. Flexing through the left toes, half happy baby. Gently pushing down onto that left foot to open up through the hip. And we're going to swap over and do the same on the other side. So the right foot is coming up, flexing through the right toes and taking the foot above the knee. The inside of your hand or your arm comes onto the inside of the right leg, either grabbing hold of the outside of the foot or onto the ankle. Making sure that right foot stays above the right knee and gently pressing down onto the foot to bring the knee closer towards the ground. Let the left hip or the left knee fall out to the side. You can place the hand onto the left leg. Half happy baby. You should feel this in your hip maybe into your glute, maybe into your lower back. Long, slow, deep breaths, opening up through the hip. Relax the shoulders, just gently pressing onto that right foot, flexing through the right toes. And take a deep breath in, and we'll let go of the foot. Let's take the feet wide with the knees bent up still, and we'll drop the knees from side to side. And we'll bring those knees back up into the center. You can do this next part with a strap or without a strap. I'll show you with a strap to begin with, if you've got one, and then if you don't, or if you want to change, you can then take the strap away, or you can do it without the strap. So we're going to keep the left foot bent, or the left knee bent. Let's bring the right foot up towards the ceiling. We're going to take the strap around the right foot, flexing through the right toes, and gently start to push onto the toes. You're pressing your lower back in towards the ground and making sure that you're flexing through the toes. I actually prefer to do this with a strap, even though I can grab hold of my foot. And that's because the more I press onto my toes and the more I flex through my foot, the deeper the stretch is into the back of the leg and into the hamstring. So you can do this with your strap. Keep flexing through the toes and then pushing on the strap to almost get your foot into more of a flexion. And we're not aiming to kind of bring the leg in towards the face. We're just looking to push the heel up towards the ceiling and flex through the toes. If you don't have a strap, you can either grab hold of the calf, the ankle, or maybe onto the toes, whatever feels best for you. Keep pushing your heel up towards the ceiling wherever you are. Feeling that stretch into the hamstring. We're really aiming for a good deep hamstring stretch here. The more you flex into the toes and the more you push your heel up towards the ceiling, the deeper this stretch is going to be. Trying to bring your shoulders down in towards the mat. And if you've got hold of your strap, you can take the strap into the right hand and gently start to take your right foot out to the side. If you don't have a strap, you can use your hand as like a tabletop and just let your leg fall out to the side and hold with the arm. So you're kind of letting that leg fall outwards. Try and keep your hips facing up, so don't let yourself roll over onto the side. If you can hold onto the toes here, you can always just let the leg fall out to the side, holding onto the foot. Let that left knee fall out towards the left side so it helps with your balance. Stretching into the hip a bit more here. Try and keep your shoulders pinned down in towards the mat. We'll take a deep breath in. Exhale, let's bring it back up into the ceiling. We'll do the same on the other side, so we'll swap the feet over. Right foot comes down, and then either taking the strap around the left toes or holding onto the calf, the ankle, or the toes and stretching here. Remember to flex your left foot as much as you can and push your heel up towards the ceiling. Keep your lower back pressed firmly down in towards the ground, your shoulders relaxed. Feel that stretch into the lower back, the hamstring, the glute. And remember, we're not locking the leg out, we're keeping a soft bend behind the knee and really flexing through the foot, pushing your heel up towards the ceiling. And from here, you can either take the strap into the left hand and let the foot fall out to the side, or if you're able to hold onto the foot, you can always grab hold of the toes or just use your hand as like a kind of tabletop to hold the foot up. Whatever you prefer, you're aiming for a nice stretch into your inner hips here. Try and keep both your hips facing up towards the ceiling so you're not letting yourself roll to the side completely. We want to keep your belly button facing up towards the ceiling. We'll take a deep breath in, slow breath out. On your next inhale, let's bring that leg back up. We'll take the knees wide again, feet pressed down into the mat, and we'll just drop from side to side here. We're going to come into our figure 4 stretch from here. So let's bring the knees hip width apart, toes are down into the mat again, and your knees are bent up. We'll bring the right foot up this time, flexing into the right toes, and we're going to take the outside of the right foot to the outside of the left leg. Let's start by pushing the right hip away from you, so you should feel a good stretch into your front of your hip here. Keep pressing it away, flexing through the right toes. You can bounce the hip like I am, or you can just push it away. You can use your hands to push, or you can use your muscle and take the hands away to actively push the leg away to create more of an active flexibility. And we'll bring the knee back to where it feels comfortable, and then we're going to start to peel up the toes on the left side and bring the left knee in towards the chin and the chest, or in towards the chest. Really using your muscles to squeeze the knee in towards you here, and then we'll take the hands on the, thread them through the legs and maybe placing them onto the thigh or maybe onto the left shin. Keep flexing through your right toes and squeezing the knee in towards the chest. Inhale to bring that knee in towards you. Exhale, use your muscles to push your right knee away from you. So this is a good outer hip stretch. Opening up through the glute. You can rock the head here as well if you want to get any tension out of the neck. Relax the shoulders wherever you are. Take another few breaths here in through the nose and out. We'll take one more in and exhale. We'll take that foot down. We're going to swap over and do the same on the other side. So if you need to rock the knees, you can do. And when you're ready, we'll lift the left leg up, flexing through the left toes, and taking the outside of the left foot to the outside of the right leg. And we'll push the left knee away from you. So you can either bounce it here, you can push and hold. Whatever feels best for you. You can use your hand to push away, or you can just use your muscles. As long as you're feeling a good stretch in the front of your hip, that's what we're looking for. We'll then pick up the toes on the right foot, bring your right knee back to where, or your left knee, sorry, back to where it feels comfortable. Peel up the toes on the right foot and start to bring that right knee in towards you. Use your muscles here to squeeze the knee in towards you before you then thread your hands through. So you're actively using your muscles to squeeze the knee tight in towards your body. Then thread your hands through, maybe placing them onto the thigh or onto the shin. Pushing the shoulders down in towards the mat. As you inhale, you're squeezing the right leg in towards you. And as you exhale, you're using your muscles to push your left knee away from you. Feeling a good stretch here, figure 4 stretch. Finding a good stretch into your glute. You might feel this in the hamstring, the lower back, outer hip. Keep flexing through the left toes wherever you are. And we'll take one more deep breath in. And exhale to let go. Let's drop the knees from side to side. We'll bring both feet up towards the ceiling. Inhale, kick the toes in towards the face. Exhale, if you can, rolling down the spine to come into a seated position. If you can't roll down the spine, just coming up into a seated position, however it feels best for you. We're going to place the hands out in front. And again, if you can, we're rolling over the knees and the shins to come into your tabletop. If you can't roll over your knees and your shins, just meeting in tabletop, however it feels best for you. Your hands underneath your shoulders with your index or middle finger facing forwards and your knees underneath your hips. We're spinning our inner elbows to face the front of the mat. And we're going to come into our cat-cow spines from here to warm up through the back a little bit more. Inhale, we're lifting the tailbone, dropping the belly, squeezing the shoulder blades together, gazing forward, deep breath in. Holding this for as long as you can until you need to take your exhale. And you'll then tuck your tailbone under, lift through the belly, spread the shoulder blades apart and take the chin in towards the chest. Exhale. Holding this until you need to take your inhale and you'll lift the tailbone, drop the belly, squeeze the shoulder blades together, gazing forwards, deep breath in. And holding this until you need to take that exhale. And when you do, you'll tuck the tailbone under, lift the belly, spread the shoulder blades, and take the chin in towards the chest. Carrying on your own breath. Really exaggerating the moves here. So really think about lifting your tailbone and squeezing your shoulder blades together in your cow spine. And squeezing and tucking that tailbone under and spreading through the shoulder blades in your cat spine. Maybe closing down the eyes. So you kind of concentrate on how it feels rather than how it looks. And we'll do one more of each here. So it doesn't matter where you are. When you're ready, we'll meet back into a neutral spine. Just rock the hips from side to side. Maybe gazing over one shoulder and trying to pinch the shoulder in towards the hip to get a good stretch down the side body. And we'll warm up into our wrists a little bit here. So let's take the hands down into the mat. We'll start with some wrist circles. So just circling your way over the wrist. Make sure your fingers are spread wide and your hands are underneath your shoulders. And we'll take those circles the other way. Let's take the inner wrist together with your thumbs facing forwards. And again, just shuffle the weight from side to side. If this feels too much on the wrists, just go back to those wrist circles with your fingertips facing forwards. We'll place the wrist back forwards and we'll roll out the fingers, roll out the wrists. Sitting onto the toes, we're going to warm up a little bit through the ankles here. So let's start by just sitting onto the feet and we'll lift one knee and then the other, if that feels comfortable. If not, just stay with both of the knees down. As long as you can feel a good stretch in your feet and your ankles, that's what we're looking for. If you want more, we're lifting both and placing them down. If you want even more, lifting the knees and holding, maybe taking the hands away. Breathing here, using your muscles, so using your core muscles to kind of squeeze your knees in towards you. And we're breathing and holding. If this feels too much, just go back to lifting one knee and then the other, or maybe both knees with your hands supporting you, or maybe just sitting onto the feet. We'll take one more deep breath in, relax the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, we'll bring the knees down wherever you are. Let's roll the toes out. And then we'll sit the other way. So we're going to tuck the toes under and sit onto the toes. Taking a second here to stretch the feet out in the opposite way. I know this class is a hamstrings and hips class, but I always like to stretch out my wrists and my ankles, regardless of what I'm going to be doing or where else I'm going to be stretching or working on. It's just like the most important places to stretch. Cat-cow spines are always important to practice, and wrists and ankles are always important to stretch. We'll take one more deep breath in. Exhale, let's place the hands in front, wriggle the toes. Coming back into your tabletop, so your hands are underneath your shoulders and your knees are underneath the hips. Make sure they haven't moved. We're going to lift up the right leg and we're going to step it up in between the hands. We're going to come into our lunge from here. So let's place the hands either side of the foot and make sure that your right foot is directly, or your right knee, sorry, is directly above your right foot, shuffling the back knee behind so you're getting a good stretch into your left hip here. Place the hands either side of the foot and we're breathing here. Feeling that stretch across the hip. If you want a little bit more, maybe take the hands away. You can place the hands onto the knee. Just opening up through your hip here. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Spreading through the toes if your hands are down or away onto the knees so that you've got good balance. And wherever you are, we're going to take the hands down, if they're not already. And we're going to take this into our half split. So at the moment we're in our lunge, we're going to shuffle your hips back to come into your half split. So your knee is coming, your hip is coming over the top of your knee. Your hands can walk with you and maybe peeling up the toes if it feels comfy. You're not locking out the knee in your half split. You've got a soft bend behind the knee. And we'll hold this here. Try and focus on bringing the chest down towards the thighs and maybe walking the hands out and in front, but only if it feels comfy and only if you've got the balance. If not, keep them in towards you. If you've got blocks, you can always place your hands on blocks here as well. Pushing your left hip forwards to make sure you're squaring your hips off. And you should feel this into your right glute and your right hamstring. And then we're going to start to take this into a movement with the breath. So as you inhale, we're going to roll forwards into your lunge. Exhale to roll back into your half split. So you can walk the hands with you. So you can come inhale into your lunge, exhale into your half split, inhale into your lunge, or maybe keep the hands where they are, exhale into your half split. The further your hands are away from you, the deeper the stretch is going to be. Slowing it down, and if there's one position that feels a little bit tighter than the other, you can always stay there for a couple of breaths. And we'll do one more of each here, so wherever you are, half split. We'll finish in our lunge. And we're going to swap over and do the same thing on the other side. So let's take the right leg back to come into your tabletop, maybe rock the hips from side to side if you need to. And then we're lifting up the left leg this time and taking it in between the hands to come into your low lunge. Your back knee is down. And your hands at either side of the foot, making sure that your left knee is above your left ankle. Breathing here. Opening up through the right hip. Relaxing the shoulders. Maybe you want to take the hands away and place them onto the knee. And this just kind of increases the stretch because your center of gravity is kind of coming through your hips. So instead of having your hands down to take some of the pressure off, when you take them away, your center of gravity is coming more down through the hips and you're feeling more of a stretch. Spreading through your toes to help with your balance. Opening up through the hip. And then we'll start to take this from our half split or our lunge into our half splits. The hands come back down into the mat. We'll take the hips back into your half split. Maybe walk the hands with you. Soft bend behind the knee. Maybe picking up the toes on the left foot, but if not, you can always keep them down. Holding this here for a moment. And then we'll start to move through the breath. So inhale into your lunge. Exhale into your half split. You can walk the hands with you back, or you can keep them out and in front. Pushing your right hip forwards. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, half split. Keep going on your own breath. And like I said before, if one pose feels better than another, you can stay there. Hold it for a few breaths before moving on. And we'll do one more of each here. And when you're ready, we're meeting back into your low lunge. We'll shuffle the left hand on the inside of the leg. And then we're picking up the left foot to take it back and behind. Coming into your tabletop again, so your hands are underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath your hips. We're going to flex the toes and take this into our down dog. Let's take the hips back towards the heels. Keep the hands exactly where they are. Lift the knees and lift all the way up into your down dog. Push the floor and the mat away from you, lifting the tailbone up high. Hold this here, maybe bend into one knee and then the other. Again, opening up through the hamstrings a little bit more. You can bend into one knee and then take that knee over to the opposite side to open up a bit more into your hips. And if you need to take a bend into your knees and lift your heels, you can do. We'll hold our down dog for a moment here. We'll then start to take tiny little walks up towards the top of the mat. Only lifting the palms of the hands when you need to. Your feet should be hip width apart, toes facing forwards, and we're coming into our ragdoll from here. So let's place the hands down into the mat. Maybe just bend into one knee and then the other. If your hands don't quite reach the mat, you can place them onto the shins. You can always place them on a block as well. Keep bending into one knee and then the other. Maybe hold for a second. Hold that bend. Feel that stretch in one of your hamstrings and then swap over to the other side. Let's take this into our Malasana squat from here. So we'll heel toe the feet out so that your heels are down in towards the mat and your toes are hanging off the edge. We'll take a deep bend into your knees and we'll bring the bum all the way down. So we're coming into our Malasana squat from here, maybe placing the hands in front of you to support you. Maybe you can bring the hands in at heart center and push the knees back and behind. So wherever you are, we're thinking about having a flat back here, so we're not rounded over. We're pushing the tailbone back and behind, lifting the chest, feeling nice and strong here. If you want a little bit more, you can come up onto one toe and down to open up through the heels a little bit more, or you can just stay in stillness. Focus on pushing your knees so that your knees are in line with your second toe, lifting your spine or through the spine, pushing your tailbone back and behind, getting a really good stretch into your hips here. Feeling that stretch, opening up through the hips. Wherever you are, let's place the hands down and we're going to step the back foot, or the right foot, sorry, to the back of the mat and take the knee down. So we're now in our lizard lunge. So your knee, your left foot, sorry, the heel should be down into the mat with the toes hanging off the edge. You should feel a good stretch into your right hip. Your back knee should be behind, your hands should be underneath your shoulders with your fingers spread. We're going to come into some circles here. So creating a really big circle with the hip. Imagine there is a pencil on your right hip bone and you're creating a really big circle with the hip. And then we'll take those circles the other way. We'll come back into our lizard lunge and hold this here for a second. Push your right hip down towards the mat. Pushing through the hands, you should feel a really good stretch into your right hip here. If you want a little bit more, we're going to walk the right hand into the center of the mat, peeling up the left toes so that the outside edge of the foot is down into the mat, and just let that left knee, fall out to the side. Feeling a really nice stretch across both of the hips. Take the hands back down if they're not already. We're going to lift up or flex the back toes, lift the knee, and we're going to step up into your Malasana squat. So we're lifting the right foot and stepping it back to where it was before. So we're back into our Malasana squat. Hands are either down in towards the mat and you're pushing your knees away with your muscles, or your hands are coming in at heart center and you're pushing your knees away. Push through the spine, lifting the tailbone back and behind. Maybe you can take the hands away completely and drop one knee down and then the other knee down. So this is some really intense hip mobility. So if this feels too much, don't worry about doing it. You can always just hold your Malasana squat instead. We'll take a deep breath in wherever you are. Let's place the hands down into the mat and we're going to step the left foot this time to the back of the mat to come into your lizard lunge again. But this time with your back foot, or your left foot as your back foot. So your right foot is on the outside edge of the mat. The toes are hanging off the edge. Hands are underneath your shoulders. And your back knee is behind. You should feel a good stretch into your left hip. We're going to create those circles again. So imagine you're drawing a big circle with your left hip. And then we'll go the other way. And we'll hold our lizard lunge. Keep the knee, your right knee, up in towards you to begin with. Feeling that stretch into your left hip. We'll then walk the left hand into the center of the mat. Start to peel up the toes onto the right foot. So you're coming onto the outer edge of the foot and maybe let that right knee drop out to the side. You can always just stay with both of your hands down in your lizard lunge if you prefer. Listen to your body, listen to your hips, take it nice and slowly and do what feels best for you. Deep breath in. Relax your shoulders. We'll come back into the center. And this time we're going to step the right foot back to meet the left. Let's take the knees up wide, feet together, and we'll drop down into our child's pose and rock the hips from side to side here. Maybe take the forehead down and rock the forehead from side to side. And we'll bring all the way back up into your tabletop. Let's come all the way down onto our backs. Actually, no, let's come sitting for a second. We'll do one last stretch sitting and then we'll come down onto our backs. Let's come into our staff pose. If you've got a yoga block, you might want to sit on the block here, but you don't have to. We're going to flex through the toes here, lifting through the spine and through the hips. We're going to take the chest towards the legs and start to melt down towards the legs here. So we're not aiming for 100% of a stretch. It's again 50 to 70%. We're not trying to take our head to the knees. We're thinking about lifting, moving your hip bones forward, so you're kind of rolling your pelvis forwards, holding on to either the shins or the calves, the ankles, the toes. You can use a strap here if you want to, and just gently let yourself melt over the legs. Once you get to your furthest point, that's when you'll relax the head down. And just let the head relax where it feels comfy. Make sure you keep flexing through the toes or through the feet so you've got a good stretch into your hamstrings. We'll take a deep breath in. Exhale, we'll come all the way up and we'll lay down onto our backs. Bring the knees in, give them a good hug in towards the chest, rocking from side to side. And we'll come into our rainbow from here. So let's let the right leg come along so it's down in towards the mat. We'll bring the left foot down, but keeping the left knee bent, and we're going to roll over towards the right hand side and let the left knee fall over the right leg in towards the ground. Make sure you keep your left shoulder pinned down in towards the mat. So you can start by keeping both hands over towards the right hand side, and then let the left arm come all the way up and round into a rainbow, pushing and making sure that you've got good contact with the left shoulder. You can always place the right hand onto the knee and just gently press it down in towards the mat. We'll swap over and do the same the other way. So coming back forwards, bending into the right knee this time, and the left leg goes long. Let the right knee fall over the left leg. Both arms can go out and in front. And then bring the right arm all the way around and over, gazing over towards the right arm, making sure you're pressing that right shoulder down in towards the mat. And then if you want to press onto your right knee with your left hand, you can do, to get a bit of a deeper stretch. Deep breath in, and we'll slowly come back up into the center. Let's bring the hips facing towards the ceiling, and we'll bring the knees in towards the chest. We'll rock across the spine here from side to side, massaging out across the spine. We'll take a deep breath in, bring the nose up in towards the knees. Deep breath in, squeeze the body as much as you can here. And exhale, we'll let everything go. We're going to come into a very small Savasana, so a final resting pose. If you want to pop anything on, like blankets or socks, anything a bit warmer, now is the time to do so. So we're going to start with our Savasana. We're just going to focus a little bit on some breath work. Following the breath, we're going to focus a little bit on where the breath is going and also tune into the body here as well. You have a few different options to come into your Savasana. Option number one is to have the legs long with the feet in towards the corners of the mat and then drop the toes out towards the side. Option number two, you can bend the knees, have your feet wide apart and drop the knees in together. Or option number three, you can keep the knees bent with your toes together and then drop the knees out to the side. Make sure you're nice and comfortable wherever you are. Start to settle in, closing down the eyes. You can place the hands onto the tummy, the chest, or maybe down in towards the mat. Start by focusing on your breath. Breathing in through the nose, then out through the mouth. And each time you exhale, your body softens just a little bit more. Your muscles relax. Your mind relaxes. It's almost like you're melting in towards the ground. And start to notice where that breath is going into the body. Are you breathing into your chest or your ribs? Maybe into your tummy? Maybe more than one place. Just noticing it. Not judging it. Just noticing where is expanding and falling in your body. Feeling the ribs or the chest and the tummy expand, and then feeling it fall back in as you exhale. Feeling the temperature change as you breathe in through the nose, some cooler air, and as you breathe out, noticing the warmer air leaving your body. We'll start to scan through the body, relaxing all the way from the top of the head, all the way down the face, through the neck, the shoulders, down the arms, all the way down your back and into your legs, into the feet. Letting go of any tension and any tightness in the body. We'll take a second here, while our mind is quiet, while our body is still, to send your attention to either your breath or maybe the space between your eyebrows. And each time your mind starts to wander off, which it might well do, just bring it back as many times as you need to without any judgment to your breath, your body, maybe the space between your eyebrows. Start to bring some awareness back into the room. Maybe wriggling your fingers and toes, rolling your wrists and your ankles. Maybe taking a deep stretch across the body, opening up. And when you're ready, rolling over onto your right hand side, letting yourself wake up gradually. You can keep the eyes closed, or maybe place the hands over the eyes, opening the eyes behind the hands and letting them get used to the light before you take the hands away. And when you're feeling ready, we'll come up into a seated position. With crossed legs or whatever seated position feels most comfortable for you. Let's take the hands onto the knees, or maybe bring them in at heart center. We'll take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Taking a moment to think of something that you're grateful or thankful for in your day, whether it's something that you achieved in this class or outside of this class. Taking a moment to be grateful and thankful for you, and to thank yourself for showing up today for you. And we'll take a deep breath in and out. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's class. And I hope that your hips and your hamstrings feel really good after that. I know that mine do. If you haven't already, please go and subscribe to my channel. It means so much to me when you guys support me and support this channel. This is a class that you can continually come back to. So you don't just need to watch this once. You can watch this as many times as you need to. Put it as part of your morning routine, evening routine, or just use it whenever your hips and your hamstrings feel like they need a little bit of an extra stretch. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to practicing with you all again soon. Thanks. Bye. And if you want to add on